All right, you guys, let's go ahead and get started here with example 1. We are doing lesson 5.10 in this case, and this is quadratic word problems in Vertex form. So in this case, guys, whenever we're working with word problems, the first thing you want to go ahead and do is you want to go ahead and label your variables. So you want to go ahead and identify what x and y represent. From there, we're actually going to go ahead and graph the equation, which is the graph we'll see here. And then from there, we can go ahead and answer questions. So first off, guys, it says an object is launched from a platform. Its height in meters, x seconds after being launched, is modeled by our following equation. Now, in each problem, guys, you will be given 2 units of measure. For example, here they are giving us height in meters, and they're also giving us x seconds. Now, based on these 2 units of measure, we actually have to identify which one represents x and which one represents y. Lucky for us in this case, guys, is that they're actually telling us what x is. They're telling us x seconds. So whenever they mention something about seconds or about time or how long something takes, it is talking about x. Now, in this case, that would now make y our height in meters. So if they mention something about the height, we know that they're talking about y. Now, let me go ahead and show you our equation here. Once again, we're graphing the equation -5 times x minus a 4 squared plus 180. And this is what we have as a graph. Now, in this case, guys, in the graph, whenever you're looking at quadratic graphs and you're working with word problems, you're going to be looking for 4 different things. So you're either going to be looking for your y-intercept, your x-coordinate, y-coordinate, or x-intercept. Now, in this case, guys, both of these points here, the x and y coordinate, they're actually found at the vertex. Those 2 are found at the vertex. And keywords for the vertex in this case, guys, would be maximum, minimum, highest, lowest. That's a vertex. In this case, our y-intercept, which is actually this point here, does represent our starting point. So that's something you probably want to write down, that our y-intercept does represent the starting point. And a keyword for us to use there is at the time of. So keyword for us there, or phrase, at the time of. So if you see that in one of your word problems, then it's most likely asking us to identify the y-intercept. And in this case, guys, the x, it actually represents the end. And a phrase in this case they use is something related to ground level. So hit the ground, reach the ground, anything that talks about a ground level. Now, if we take a look at this here, this graph here, once again, our y is our starting point. So we do start at a certain height. Then we basically launch the object, reach its maximum point, and then come back down. In this case, once again, this is when it's at rest, when it's no longer in the air, when it's in the ground. Okay, so before I get started with the questions, guys, once again, x represents seconds, y represents height. And we got that from our initial word problem here. So let's go ahead and get started here first. And in this case, first question says, what is the maximum height? So go ahead and highlight or underline any keywords or phrases here, guys. And one of our keywords they're giving us here, sorry about that. One of the keywords they're giving us here is height. Oh, not that. Height. Another one they're giving us, maximum, I'm sorry. Another one they're giving us here is height. So maximum and height. Now, one thing, guys, whenever they're talking about the maximum, they're actually referring to the highest point. Our highest point in this case is known as the vertex. And our height in this case is represented by y. Now, because they're asking us for a point or a value in the vertex, more specifically, they're asking us to find the y, we're actually looking for the y-coordinate of our vertex, y-coordinate of vertex. So if we take a look back at our graph, our y-coordinate in the vertex, we're going to the vertex, vertex is here, the y would be represented by the 180. So our answer in this case, guys, is 180 meters. 180 meters. So that was the first question, guys. First question there, that is our answer. Let's go ahead and take a look at the next one here. And it says, how long will it take the object to hit the ground? Once again, go ahead and highlight any keywords or phrases they're using here. So how long in this case is 1, and hit the ground. Now, in this case, guys, whenever we're talking about how long, in this case, it's actually talking about time. So the only time we're given in this problem here is seconds. So let me just move this a bit down. They're giving us here is seconds. Seconds. And in this case, guys, seconds is represented by X here. So seconds is represented by X. And another key phrase for us is hit the ground. So basically, when the object is launched, when is it going to be at rest? When is it going to be at the ground? And in this case, the only point that represents ground level would be our x-intercept. So let's go ahead and take a look at our graph for our x-intercept. And in this case, guys, our x-intercept is found on the x-axis. So our answer there would be 10 seconds. 10 seconds. All right. Let's go ahead and take a look at the next one, guys. And we have, what is the height of the object at the time of launch? So key phrases, guys, or words is height, and then a phrase at the time of. Once again, guys, here height represents either X or Y. And in this case, it actually represents Y. Now, in this case, they are mentioning at the time of, which does represent the starting point. So the only Y value in this case that represents our starting point is our Y-intercept. So Y-intercept. So if we take a look at the graph, that is actually going to be 100. 100 meters. All right. And let's go ahead and take a look at this last question. It says, how long after launching will it reach max height? How long after launching will it reach max height? So how long is a key word, and max height. Now, in this case, guys, how long, once again, refers to time, which in this case is seconds. So X in this case is represented by seconds. Now, whenever we're talking about maximum, we're talking about our vertex. So once again, guys, the maximum, if it's the maximum here, we're actually down to 2 points, whether it's going to be the X coordinate or the Y coordinate. In this case, since they're asking for how long, they're asking for time, they're actually looking for X. So they're basically asking us what X value gives us our vertex. So if we take a look back at our vertex, our X in this case is going to be 4. So our answer in this case for the X coordinate is going to be 4 seconds. So that was for the first one.